Okay, my next question with regard to this tournament, Amaya. Why Poland and why Madagascar?
Well, I've said before, Madagascar is because my 10-year-old girl said, "Daddy, are they going to bring lots of animals?" And I went, "Absolutely." And in fact, that was the best way forward. What a film. And I thought, great, let's do it.
They're physically fit.
That's right. Physically fit. This tournament, I nailed it in literally only 45 days ago. So at that point, you didn't have the spectrum of nations ready and waiting to come to Sri Lanka. So with respect, Poland in Europe were one of the few that were available to come. Madagascar very different. The IRB were very, very persistent on Madagascar coming out because Madagascar are the same as Sri Lanka. They're bulging out of Africa, and they could be the next African team to qualify for a World Cup.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Listen, being 44th, they're only 44th because they're similar to Sri Lanka. They only play African nations.
Okay,
so they haven't had the chance to get out of that. And when you look at South Africa and Namibia, they've got a difficult group.
In the recent past, I mean, I know we've been playing a lot of Asian countries. Yeah. But apart from Asia, like initiatives like these, any other initiatives have been happening in the recent past with Sri Lanka?
In the past?
Yeah.
The answer is no. I mean, Asian 7 series, which we're doing very, very well at the moment. We've got one leg to go in Singapore. And the Asian 5 nations.
It's all within the Asia-Pacific region, and that's what you're saying, step out of the pond.
Absolutely, but that's great. Don't get me wrong, we've had to work up to getting into that. So I'm not suggesting that we could have done anything any earlier, and in fact, we couldn't probably. Not probably, we couldn't. And really, I've taken that brass move to say, right, let's do it. I wasn't brought in here to tread water. I was brought in here to do what I'm good at, and that's going for it. I'm an action man. And, at the end of the day, there may be errors and there may be pain on the way, but I tell you what, there's going to be far more success. And it takes a very brave person to put a tournament on like this and to have the support of Asanga, who's the president of the union. Definitely. Top man, and his vision has kept me in this game, to be perfectly honest. Without Asanga, I wouldn't be here. Absolutely, categorically would not be here. And he's single-handedly moving this forward.
And also maybe a few comments about our coaching here in Sri Lanka.
I think generally the coaching is as good as you can expect it to be. They're taking the badges and they're doing the bits, and again they're doing the best. But let's be honest, to get to the next level, they need to. You need to bring people over and start feeding more information. You can't win a 15s match playing 7s rugby, and we are a 7s nation practically. And now it's time we start bracing ourselves for 15s rugby. In cricket, it's 2020, isn't it? And you can be, on your day, you can beat anybody in 2020. But how many of you go out and win 50 over test, matches and test matches? It's a different ball game. It's this and this. Well, rugby's the same. 7s, I think we're fantastic at 7s, and we're naturally gifted at 7s. We've got the engines and the speed. But 15s is a much more technical game. Okay. I can see that you're not a technical expert, and that's I'm not. and that's
I was actually telling him just before we started the show that I'm not a huge rugby person. More than me, Amaya is actually getting into it.
I like it. I like the game. I'm converted. It's like hallelujah chorus happening.
She likes to see the boys running off the field.
Maya could be doing. You should be coming over and doing some training, some boxercise or something. To really add another dynamic.
Because there is women's rugby actually happening in Sri Lanka as well, isn't there? And you're planning on adding another dimension to the tournament maybe later on by bringing that in.
In the new year, I'm looking at it, and actually as a last-minute scenario, we're actually playing the national women's 7s team today. In a pre-match to the 5:30 kickoff. We've got a 4:30 kickoff with the national women's 7s team versus a President's 7, and the women have just come back having won the plate in the Asian 7s.
Wow.
So for those who can get there early, that'll be a great spectacle.
And these are things we don't know about, Amaya.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's just not put out there, I think, because people would love to know about what's happening.
Well, it's one of those things where, we made that decision very late on.
I see. Okay.
And you got to remember we have to logistically coordinate with the matches and everything else. But I think it's great to see them. When I watch them in the Carlton 7s playing, and I tell you what, they're phenomenal.
Are they?
Oh, you know what? They are real players. And I think women's rugby in this country can really take a grip. You know, I think it's going places, and for anybody out there that wishes to get involved in rugby on the female side, tell you what a better place to start than Sri Lanka women's rugby, you know.
Because it's
then maybe you should just think about it a little bit if you want to try and get into it.
Definitely. Alright.
There you go. That's a challenge.
That's a challenge. There. Yeah. Don't do this to me on the show, Alistair. Not on national TV.
Well, now we can actually see if Amaya really has passion for the game, or whether she just likes to see the boys running on the field.
Well, you might never find out. So yeah, I'm warning you ahead of time. All right. But speaking about the pre-match that's going to happen on Friday as well, that's an exciting match. Colombo Schools versus Candy Schools.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
I've seen a handful of school games and I've been very impressed. And I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to be a crowd puller as well, so I think we're going to be looking at almost capacity on Friday now with the schools and the Polish game.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm going to be looking at that game, and I'm going to be looking at the style and the quality of the team for the change. I'm going to look at not just the support and the passion. We've got heaps of that in Sri Lanka. But I'm going to clinically look at the abilities of some of these individuals. And the potential is massive, don't get me wrong. And I know if you can put them in a professional environment, these boys can do it. I'm certain of it. So I'm going to sit back, I'm going to watch that game, and I'm going to hand the walkie-talkie to somebody else. And I'm going to say, right, leave me alone for 40 minutes while I watch the boys, please.
I think you deserve that, Alistair, all the hard work that you put in.
I'm going to try and get some sleep next week.
Great.
I'm going to try, because it's getting up early in the morning for these shows. It
was really nice talking to you.
Great having you on the show. We're very glad that you woke up and put on a blazer and came here this morning. It's great to have you here.
You're very welcome.
Best man in the room.
Thank you. Don't often win those accolades.
Alright, so that's it. We've come to the end of our show, haven't we, Wassam? It's been a very interesting, fun. We've had doodles and rugby and a lot of interesting things happening here. But right now, I have to remind you that the Serendip International Cup is happening today. Tuesday is going to be Poland versus Madagascar, and on Friday it's going to be the big one. It's going to be Poland versus Sri Lanka. So if you're a rugby fan, or if you love great atmosphere, or if you even want a great party, because it promises to be a rock and roll event, then you need to head down to the Racecourse grounds, and we'll also be telecasting it live and exclusive here on MTV Sports as well. So that's it from Wassam and I from Good Morning Sri Lanka today, but we'll be back with another great show tomorrow, so do tune in tomorrow as well, and we'll bid you farewell right now.
Thank you, bye bye.